yourself a merry little Christmas.
Hey everyone, it's Hailey and today is Bookmas Day 4. So when I initially started brainstorming different ideas for videos for Bookmas and I came up with the idea for today's video, it was the one that I was the most excited for, and it is the one that I actually got to do the soonest, which was really exciting for me. So the idea of today's video is giving. Christmas is obviously a time of giving. That's kind of the theme of the season, is giving to those that you love, giving to those that you might not even know, just giving back in some sort of way. So I think that's a really important message about the season, and it was something that I decided to really enact this year. So it's no mystery that I have a lot of books. You can see behind me I have a ton of books, and I have a constant influx of books with publishers sending them to me and getting them in different subscription boxes, etc, etc. So the end result is that I have more books than I could possibly ever read, and as much as I want to read all of the books, I can't. Now, working in a bookstore, and at least where I live in Canada, and I know a lot of you guys experience the same thing because I see your comments, but books are really expensive. Because I work in a bookstore, I get an employee discount, which is very helpful when it comes to filling my shelves and keeping up with the latest releases. And like I said, I'm also sent books quite often, which I am eternally grateful for. And I realize that is not, and I realize for 99% of you, that isn't the case. A lot of you guys do have trouble getting your hands on books, and that's heartbreaking to me. It's for that reason that I love libraries. Libraries are a great resource for people to discover a love of reading and be able to get their hands on books, even if they can't necessarily afford it. I'm very privileged in the fact that I am able to afford buying books. I maybe buy more than I should, but it wasn't always like that for me. I wasn't always able to buy a ton of books. But even when money was a little tight, whenever we went to the bookstore, and I can distinctly remember one time this happened, I filled my arms with books and my dad was like, okay, we'll buy them. And to me, it's little things like that that really sparked my love of reading. Now, ideally, I would love to be able to get a book into each and every single one of your hands, but unfortunately, I don't have the resources to do so. But just because I can't make a huge impact doesn't mean I can't start small and work from there. So I thought, what better place to go and give back than to my old high school. Now, I wasn't always a huge reader. I was always a huge writer, but reading was something that I kind of struggled with. But when I was in grade 11, a love of reading truly sparked in me when I was going through a tough time, and I turned to books and the characters in books to help me through it. However, at some point when I was in high school, I'm not sure exactly the year, but they made the decision to change our library from a place where you went to go and get books to a tech space. So they took out all of the books from the library, and the result of that was our school didn't have a library anymore. Now, to be fair, a lot of people never used the library. I didn't use the library, but a big part of that was the fact that we weren't really encouraged to use the library. And especially once you got there, all of the books were old titles. There was nothing really relevant to our lives today. Now, I'm not gonna get political or anything, but honestly, the fault of that does lie with the government. The budget is not allotting for books for students, and it's a huge problem. Part of the reason why I love my job at Chapters Indigo is because we have the Love of Reading Fund, and I'm not being sponsored to say this at all. I just think it's a great initiative that we take, and I want to talk about it a little bit. So that's a foundation where all of the money from it goes directly to schools in Canada and building libraries for them. It's an amazing thing that we do, and we have our annual Adopt a School event, and that's where you're donating to a specific school locally, and the kids always make little posters for it and everything, and they end up sending a thank you note at the end, and it's honestly the most heartwarming thing to see how much this has impacted them. So knowing that my old high school, where I first found my love of reading, didn't have a library is heartbreaking for me. So I wanted to do my part, and with the help of one of my old teachers, I was able to give my school a library. So I was able to give them 3 shelves full of books that I just don't have the time to read, but I want them to be read, and I know that there's someone out there who will have time to read them. So the library is nestled right in between my old favorite classroom, which is actually the teacher who helped me with this. It's her classroom, Mrs. Tudner, and my old locker is on the other side. So that was a place where I spent a great deal of my time, and now the fact that there is a library there for the students who are walking through the halls where they can just take a book, they don't have to worry about leaving a book behind or even bringing a book back. The point is, I'm just putting a book in their hands. I'm giving them that opportunity to discover reading. It makes me so happy to know that I might be making a difference in someone's life. For me, picking up a book definitely changed my life. I mean, look at where I am now, and I didn't even like reading at one point in my life. And I think that books have the power to change everyone's lives, and I'm so glad that I'm making them available to people with the help of my teacher. I'm hoping that someone will pick up a book from that shelf and they will read it and they will fall in love with it and they will fall down the reading rabbit hole. It will have a snowball effect and they will just keep craving more stories, and it will make them a better person, because reading honestly does change your life. It makes you a better person, it makes you more intelligent, and it just has such a lifelong effect. So the fact that just giving someone the chance to read a book might have such an impact on their life like it did mine, that to me is priceless, and I'm so glad that I was able to do this for the students. My teacher has already had to start filling the shelf with books that we had on top. They had to go back in the shelf because so many books have already been taken, and that's so amazing. I'm so glad that I was able to do that. I'm also hoping this has a huge impact on the school community as a whole. I'm hoping that they realize that literature isn't boring. Reading is fun. There's a book out there for everyone, and it doesn't matter what you're reading. As long as you're reading, I don't care. Doing this video in general, I'm hoping that if you are able to, or if you have the resources to, it might encourage you to give back a little bit. If you can't, that's totally fine, and there's nothing wrong with that, but if you are able to, it's always a great feeling to be able to make a difference in a community. You never know what your giving back might spark. It might have a snowball effect like I'm hoping that this library will. I'm hoping that it's really going to make some readers out of these students.
The absence of a library in schools is devastating, and it's hard to believe that we've come to a point where a room that used to house books now is obsolete, or is said to be obsolete. It's devastating. I really do think it's important to be able to escape from your everyday life into a world of a character that may or may not be made up, and it allows you to connect with other people in similar situations, and it really does open up a whole new set of universes.
I can relate to characters, and like I feel like by that I just like learn how to get out of stuff, because like, oh well, if that character can go through that, then well, I mean, like I'm going through the same thing, so then like, you know, like it gives advice.
Like seeing all these books that you didn't even know existed would definitely promote reading.
I like to think that every book that I've ever taught has connected with a student in some way or another, that helped them see the truth of something or someone, be a better person, know that they're not alone in whatever their struggle is.
My like speech level was really bad, my writing was really bad, my reading was really bad. So like reading in the sense kind of allowed me to get better at English.
I really would like to change a way of thinking, that books are not boring, books are not outdated. They're amazing. And now they're right outside the door.
There will be an impact with having a library, because like students can walk by and like people are gonna see the books and be so excited and stuff, and it might get them more interested in like our English program and stuff, to know that like they can always read and there's always options there.
I think that having a library where kids can just take a book and not have to leave one and not have to worry about like a source of pay is like really important, and it'll definitely enforce people to read more, because if I had that when I was in grade 9 and even in grade school, we didn't really have a library like that, I would have definitely read more.
Having the library accessible to teens, like you could just like walking down the hallway and look and pick up the book. It's just gonna be easier. It's just gonna like kind of promote reading more, because like for us, there's no kind of easy way to get books that are, because we don't have money, we don't have the resources, we don't usually have like, and or even the time. So I think it'll just like make it easier, and even in the sense like promote reading.
Some of my best earliest grade school memories were going to the library and choosing a book and bringing it home and then going back the following week. And one of the reasons that I became a teacher was my very first and favorite librarian, who just created this welcoming, warm environment where you could get lost in a story, in a world, and take 2 steps away from the normal stress of school.
What is your #1 hope for the library?
I want it to disappear. I want every book on that shelf to be gone, and I want to have to restock it because they're gone, because 200 books or whatever number we fit on that shelf found their way into someone's home.
My hope for having this library is to promote reading and make it seem like a cool, fun thing again.
I think my hope for the library is that it just promotes reading more, and it allows kids an easier access to read. And like kids who aren't the most technological savvy like me have that like realization that there is like resources that they can use within the school. Yeah, so that people can just read more and then enjoy more, and then they can like connect to be like, oh, you read this book.
I hope people get more interested in reading, and I just hope like it opens a lot of doors for people, because reading is awesome and not a lot of people do it now. It's sad because I just want to like fangirl over books with people.
Especially as students, like we're broke, right? We don't want to spend money on books. I'm like an okay reader. Like I could be reading more, and like I know that.
Reading like...
So I just wanted to say thank you so much to my teacher Daniela Chudner for helping me with this video and helping me put up this library and lending me the wall outside of her classroom to do it. I'm so excited about it, and it is a great honor to have my name on that library. I think that's just amazing. I also wanted to say thank you so much to the students who helped me carry the books up to the bookshelf and those who did some interviews for me. It was amazing hearing your thoughts about this and hearing your excitement about it. I am just so excited that you guys are so excited about it. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope it inspired you a little bit to give back, or even just to keep on reading, because reading is absolutely the best thing in the world. So I will see you guys tomorrow on Bookmas Day 5. Bye!
Just see those sleigh bells